You are listening to the Booktrospective Podcast, a podcast for all types of books. And even though we read all types of books across all different types of genres, we want to give a disclaimer. Many of our books and a lot of our content sometimes is intended for mature audiences. And we don't believe in censorship, but we do want our listeners to have the opportunity to decide if our episode or podcast is good for them. So with that, let's get into the episode. Hey, it's Dominique.
And Keely.
And you are listening to Booktrospective. And this week we are covering First Time Caller by B.K. Borison.
Yeah.
Aha. Got that all right. Keely, how's your week been? Yeah, it's been a whole week.
It's been a week. Things have been slow, which is frustrating, but I don't know. I'm tired.
This Saturday is indie bookstore day.
Yes.
This comes out Monday. Yes.
Yes, and I'm excited. I have the Libro FM golden ticket for 12
Kendall,
free
if you're listening,
audiobooks.
You may not attend. You are not allowed.
I also just found that I still have, from when I opened, I have two, separate, 1 credit
cards.
For Libro FM.
Oh.
So I'll have, 3 things for them hidden, I guess. I do have some arcs from, that I think I'm going to do with a $50 plus purchase.
Oh, yeah,
you get an arc. Trying to decide, because I have all the, book arcs. I'm trying to decide whether I should do the manuscript ones too. Because if so, then there's a lot more. But yeah, I may do something else. I don't know. But
so indie bookstore day, and if you're not local to us, go to another small indie bookstore.
Yes.
Okay, I will probably be in. This weekend's coming up is my anniversary. It's been a whole year.
Yay.
The 28th will be 1 year. So me and Josh are staying local because I'm being fiscally responsible this year, and I hate it. But I have a lot going on that are positives, so that's good. And what else? I think it's supposed to be warm. It's warm, but now it's raining, and I can't.
Yeah.
I can't take it. I hate the rain.
Oh, see, I love the rain.
I mean, I do when I don't
long
have
as it's warm.
do anything, but when you have to go places,
True.
I'm like, ugh. And it was a little aggressive this morning.
Yeah.
That wind was aggressive.
When the alarms went off on the phone, I peeked outside and I'm like, oh my gosh.
I checked on the coop.
It said to stay away from windows, and I'm like, my bed is literally underneath my window. So I guess if this is how I go out, this is
my whole house is windows. I don't know if I said this last time when we had the tornadoes, but I literally was in this tiny hallway, and I do have another bigger hallway that I forgot about, but my entire house, besides those 2 hallways, is windows. So yeah, I just I don't know, did not think that these are the things when you buy a house or rent or whatever. You don't think about these things until you're like, oh, it looks nice, good floors. That so. Okay, so before we get started, me and Keely have just decided this. So because I am chaotic and also a little burnt, we are going to take a hiatus. So our next episode is Kingdom of Ash. It won't be next week because we have a lot of stuff going on, so it will probably be in 2 weeks. And then after that, we're probably going to take a summer hiatus and be back August-y timeline. We just have a lot of stuff going on between the 2 of us and things we're trying to do in our personal lives. And we are still going to be reading all the stuff that we read, but taking the notes and all of that just kind of gets me a little burnt. So yeah, and then when we come back, we might do seasons or whatever, but we've been going 80 however many episodes strong, and we've never missed a week. So except for when something didn't upload. but no, I think we're at 86 or 87 or something. We're almost to 100. So when we come back, we'll hit 100. Before the end of the year. So if you have any thoughts or suggestions for that, we appreciate it. We will be back. And we're always still doing book stuff. And I will still be posting on the page, like, regularly, because I will honestly probably read more when I don't have to, like, notate. And Keely, like, can finally, like, she's already been, like, stuck in, like, reading certain stuff anyways for something she was doing. And now she has, like, more freedom to do that, too. So we'll both be posting and doing all that. And, like, probably posting, like, reviews of stuff. And we're not going to start any new, like, series or anything until we come back. So
yeah,
I said series, not Siri. So that is just a quick announcement. So next episode will be probably a week late, and then we'll take a hiatus, and more to come on that. So Keely, the blurb.
A hopeless romantic meets a demoralized radio host in this cozy, Sleepless in Seattle-inspired love story from fan favorite author of the Love Light series, B.K. Borison. Aiden Valentine has a secret. He's fallen out of love with love. And as a host of Baltimore's romance hotline, that's a bit of a problem. But when a young girl calls into the station asking for dating advice for her mom, the interview goes viral, thrusting Aiden and heartstrings into the limelight. Lucie Stone thought she was doing just fine. She has a good job, an incredible family, and a smart, slightly devious kid. But when all of Baltimore is suddenly scrutinizing her love life, or lack thereof, she begins to question if she's as happy as she thought. Maybe a little more romance wouldn't be such a bad thing. Everyone wants Lucie to find her happy ending, even the handsome, temperamental man calling the shots. But when sparks start to fly behind the scenes, Lucie must make the final call between the radio sponsored Happily Ever After, or the man in the headphones next to her.
Okay, so if you could describe this book in one word, what would you say?
I would say swoony.
I'm gonna say I don't know, like, it's kind of quirky. Yeah, I like quirky. So I did remember that I'm supposed to talk about the author. She. So cozy contemporary romances featuring emotionally vulnerable characters and swoon-worthy settings. She has a family. She's behind books she doesn't have room for. This book came out this year.
Yes.
February, I believe. And yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not a lot there. So this is Aiden and Lucie. They're both in their, like, late 20s. Which is funny because, like, I have to keep reminding myself of that throughout the whole book because it doesn't feel like it. They feel older.
Yeah.
So Aiden they're in Boston. He works on the radio, it's called Heartstrings, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like a romance, it's not called a podcast.
Hotline.
I'm like, what's it called? And Lucie is a mechanic, so it's almost kind of like role reversal.
Yeah, and I love that.
Yes, but she's not masculine at all, but she just does that. And so she has a 12-year-old daughter who decides that her mom's amazing, but she needs love, and calls into the show, and she ends up becoming a regular on the show for them to help her find love. Obviously, this is a romance, so we know that our main characters end up together at the end. That is no spoiler, but it's just like a fun, quirky little read. Like, we get snippets of their show at the end or beginning. I don't know which way it is because I didn't read the physical book. End or beginning of, like, each chapter, which is cute. And there's just, like, found family, basically. Yes. So her daughter's dad is her best friend, and he's actually he's in a relationship or married to another man, and they're, like, platonic loves, that's what they call it. They've been best friends since they were 3, and it's just them because both of their families, like, disown them. And then Aiden has family, but he's distanced himself from them because he's just, like, really afraid to get hurt and heartbroken. So it's kind of like, you know, a learning curve adventure for both of them, as most romances are. But yeah, so triggers for this one.
Let's see.
I'm sure Cancer is one.
Yes. Sexual content. There's smut. It isn't like
Not
an exorbitant amount. There's like
one pepper.
Yeah, there's like 1.5 scenes.
Yeah, there's literally like 1.5 scenes.
Grief, misogyny.
Oh, that guy.
Other than that,
not much.
Not much.
It's really a cozy contemporary romance.
It is. Yeah.
It is just, it's a palate cleanser for all the books that we've been reading.
Yes, it is.
So, okay. So without further ado, if you have not read this book and you don't wish to be spoiled, I'm going to get started here so you can pause and come back later. So we are in dual POV. So we start with Aiden. He is in a coffee shop. It is very early, and he does not like to be up early. It's not very early. It's like 8:30. And the coffee shop is called Skullduggery. But it's like they're celebrating anti-Valentine's Day. And like he walks in, the first sign he sees says love is a lie. And his friend and coworker Jackson like forced him to be here because Jackson's basically like, we're only friends when like you need something, but like he's like a really good guy and wants to be friends. So Aiden does the hotline, the love hotline. Jackson does the weather and like traffic updates. And lately Aiden has like, the whole studio's like, yeah, we got to get together because he's literally bitter. Like he is snapping people's heads off when they call. He's sick of people calling in complaining about not liking what their wife cooked for dinner, and my husband doesn't ever pick up his laundry, like stuff like that. And Jackson's like, you just need a better attitude. And he literally called someone a POS on the air like recently, and Jackson had to like abruptly cut it off with like the weather or traffic or whatever. So Aiden is like thinking like, he has a lot going on right now. His mom is actually in remission for cancer, and we'll learn like she's had cancer a few times. And he's just like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Going to work, like he used to love his job, but he just feels so empty now. He hates it. He hates talking to people, which is his entire job. He's really fallen out of love with the idea of love, and like their ratings are down, and things are circling the drain. So we go over to Lucie. Lucie is in bed, and she has a 12-year-old daughter, and she hears her like on the phone, and she's like, who is she talking to? And so she goes in there, and her daughter's name is Maya, and she's on the phone with a man, and she's like, what is going on? Like, what is going on? So Maya's like trying to hide the phone. She's like, it's not what you think, because she said like, she heard her say like, I don't know, my mom's probably like not gonna go for that. And she's like, give me the phone. And I'm like, this is the radio. So she gives her the phone, and she's like, who is on the phone with my daughter? And this is Aiden, which she doesn't know yet. And he's like, I don't like what you're insinuating. And he basically says, Maya called in and said that she wants her mom to find love. And she like turns to Maya. Like there's all this like it goes back and forth between the two POVs here, but it's like the muted conversation. She's like, did you join a cult? And he's like, hi, I'm Aiden Valentine, and your daughter called in for dating advice, basically. So Aiden is like on air, and he's like actually enjoying his job for the first time in a long time. And Lucie is like, this is so embarrassing. And he's like, yeah, Maya says you basically haven't dated for her entire life. And she's like, okay, well, what are your qualifications? Like, are you a therapist? Like, he's like, no, I'm a radio host. And he's like, Maya says that you're always at home, and when she goes out with her friends, she feels bad because like you get left alone. And Lucie asked Aiden, like, okay, well, like, are you single? Do you date? And yes. And she asked, like, well, how do you go about it? And he says, she asked, like, how does he go about dating? And, like, how does he make himself look appealing to, like, attract dates? And she's like, try dating apps. She hated it. And he asked her, like, are you willing to try dating again? And she asked him, like, are you lonely? And he admits, like, sometimes. So back to Lucie, she's worried, like, why Maya did this. Like, is Maya unhappy because she appears to be unhappy? She's, like, absolutely mortified that her daughter did this and that she was on the air. And she ends up apologizing to Maya, though. And she starts getting this, like, she works at a mechanic shop. She is a mechanic. She works at the shop. And she keeps getting this call from, like, an unknown number. And I think she might have been at home, actually. I don't think she was at work. But her ex comes to get Maya. And he actually, like, they live, like, right next door to each other, basically. And they're best friends. So her ex is Grayson. He's married to Mateo. And Grayson is like kind of upset that Maya got on the radio only because him and Maya are like basically been like talking about doing an intervention on Lucie for like ever, and she let him out of it. So he's upset. But he's like, I want to help. Like, I'm your platonic love. And the episode or whatever has gone absolutely viral. Everyone knows about Lucie being on this thing. And so this is when she goes to work, and everyone at the shop knows. And it's all men, but like her. And like older men too, like 50s and stuff. But they all know. And this number just keeps calling her. So she finally answers, and it's a woman. So we go back to Aiden, and his boss, Maggie, says that their social media is blowing up, and that she invited Lucie to come on the show because she wants to do basically like a Bachelorette style, like, set of shows because people are wanting to see like Lucie find her happy ending. So we go back to Lucie, and her like friend, neighbor also, Patty, is like, you just have horrible luck. She's like, you got pregnant the first time you ever had sex, you choose the worst men, and now you're going viral for like the most embarrassing thing. Like, it's just like she can't win. So Lucie ends up agreeing to like at least show up at the station, not do the show, and she goes in, and Aiden's there. They don't recognize each other. And she's like, I don't know. Something like she feels like she's here for like a root canal. And he's like, I don't think you want me in your mouth. And he's like, what is wrong with me? And then he goes, I mean, you don't want me in your mouth as a dentist. And he's like, that's not any better. And he's like, oh my gosh, she's gorgeous. And she has green eyes. And like his dad is real into plants. And he's like, her eyes are the same color of whatever plant that his dad is like always talking about in their front yard. And now she's looking at Aiden, and she's like, he does not have a face for radio. He is hot. He has a face for like video and television. And they basically learned that like now like the show is at 7.4 million listens or whatever. I think it's only voice. There's only audio. There's no video component. And she's like, I thought that he would be older, like a 50-year-old man smoking a cigar, and he's, I think, 27, and she's 29, so she's older than him too. So she agrees to like just go in and kind of like listen, and someone ends up calling, and they just talk about how listening to Lucie be like so open and transparent has really helped them, and like she just can't believe that she could be helpful to anybody like with her situation. And Aiden kind of admits to her like he's not really sure like love is real anymore, like he's just very jaded. So back with Lucie, she gets like home one day, and she like has a note that she has to go to her like weekly dinner or whatever with Grayson and Mateo. And basically like Grayson's upset with her because she's so lonely, and he's like been listening to the show, and like, why haven't you talked to me? I want to help you. So we go back to Aiden, and Lucie shows up for her first show. They're both like extremely nervous, and she's like, can I like do something? He's like, make the coffee. And she's like, and he's like, oh no, that sounds terrible. She's like, no, I'll make the coffee. Like, she doesn't know what to do. So she literally like gets on, and she's like, hi, this is Lucie. And like the phones start ringing off the hook. And so she's like, he's trying to get her to like talk, like, what's your favorite color? What do you like? And she's like not really comfortable. And she tells him like she's actually really like embarrassed by all of this, and she tries to get him to tell her like a secret to like feel more comfortable. And he like doesn't want to, but then they like take a break, and off air he tells her that his real name is not Valentine, because at first he's like, yeah, that's my real name, but his name is really Aiden Valen, which is weird. And Valentine is just like his stage name. So somebody else calls in, and they're asking like, what does she look like? And she's like, I don't know, like, I have a face. And so she's like telling Aiden to describe her, and he's obsessed with her already. Like, he's in love. And he's like, what song do you want us to play? And I can't remember what the song she plays. It's like a older, like a Louis Armstrong song. Yeah. And he's like, ugh, because it's the song that reminds him of his mom being in chemo, and his mood like switched, and she's like, oh, did I like do something wrong? But he ends up playing the song. So off air again, like, he's asking her, what does she do? And she tells him what she does, and she's like, yeah, guys have said like my job is too masculine. And so Jackson ends up coming in, and Aiden's annoyed because Jackson keeps coming in here, like, what do you want? And also they record in like a closet, like there's only room for like two people in there, and him and Lucie keep like bumping knees and elbows and like just touching. So he goes out and like talks to his boss, and Maggie's like, you are a terrible, like you're doing terrible. Like you're supposed to be trying to help her find a boyfriend. So like 2 weeks go by and like he's still doing terrible. And she's like, you are not even letting her talk to people. Like they call in and you immediately hang up on them. Like what is up? So she gives Lucy an office phone and is like, hey, you can text like the callers or whatever. And they end up naming this segment Lucy's Road to Love, sponsored by Mr. Tire.
Yeah.
So we go to Lucy. She gets the phone and she has like 300 messages. Most of them are junk. And the only number that's saved in this phone happens to be Aiden. So she ends up like texting and they like talk about like, she's like, what should we call you? And he's like, a love guru. And so she goes to work like the next day and her coworkers end up going through the phone and they're asking like, you know, when are you going to actually go on a date? Like, isn't that the whole point of all of this? And she's like, I don't know. And they're like, well, we listen to the show. Like, we even have, like, a text thread about the show. Like, and these, again, are, like, 50 and 60-year-old men. And she's like, why would you care? And they're like, of course we care about you. Like, what are you talking about? And she says that she actually just started working here because her and Grayson, like, it doesn't really go into, like, when he discovered his sexuality. Like, I don't know. Like, I was wondering if this was like,
yeah, no, it doesn't.
I was wondering if this was like, we're gonna try to have sex to see if I'm like really gay or what. Like, it doesn't really go into that. So they basically get pregnant the first time they have sex. They're teenagers, and they like basically she decided to like let him go to school, so she didn't go to school, so she needed to get a job, and she just goes into this mechanic and like they teach her everything. Like, she never went to school or worked on cars or anything. They just teach her everything, and she's really good at her job now. So, so she's like working or whatever, and this man comes in and they like work on vintage cars and stuff. So he has like a vintage Chevy and he's like, I want underglow, which is like when you put lights. And she's like, no, I'm not destroying your car like that. And she's like, what color? He's like, does he say red? He either says red and the car is blue, or he wants blue.
The car is red, I believe. Okay. Rosie, I think Rosie is red.
Rosie's
and he wants
red.
Blue underglow.
His car is rosy and is red, and he wants blue underlights. And she's like, absolutely not. But he was like basically testing her. He's like, great, you can work on my car. Like, every other place I went was like, yeah, we'll do whatever you want, and I don't trust him to work on my car. And this is like a big dude. Like, she's like, he's a big guy, like kind of intimidating. So he's like, you know, I want you to work on it. He's like, I think I fell in love. And she's like, I've never had anybody like request me before. She's like, I got like my schedule's full for like 2 weeks. He's like, it's fine, like I'll wait on you. And so then, like, between, like, work and home, like, everyone is, like, ranking all the men that's reached out to her. Patty, the neighbor, is like, you should rank them by dick sizes. And, like, Mateo literally has made, like, a spreadsheet of, like, the men. So she tells Aiden, like, whenever she's on the show again, like, I'm going to just pick a date, like, when I'm here tonight. He does not want her to, but obviously he doesn't say that. But he's like, you are? And she's like, I guess. He's like, well, you don't seem sure about it. And she's like, well, that's my plan for tonight. So we switch back over to Aiden, and she ends up picking this guy named Elliot, who's an investment banker. And it's the day of the date. It's like a Friday. And so Aiden's at the studio and trying not to think about it. And this guy comes in. They're like, hey, there's a guy in the front. Like, he's very disheveled, and he's threatening to handcuff himself to the building. So Aiden goes out, and big dude. Everybody in this book is big, apparently. Because Aiden himself is like 6'4", of course, because every man is.
Yeah.
And so the guy like walks up on him, and I'm like, this has to be Grayson. And he's like, why would you do this to her? This whole thing is to be helping her. And he's like, what is going on? So Lucy comes in dressed for her date, and she's like, I am so sorry. And he looks at her. He can tell she's been crying. And Maggie comes out and is like, Aiden, you need to get back on the air. Jackson is in there talking about wet snow or whatever he was talking, drippy snow. And Aiden's like, no, like, I need to make sure she's good. So essentially, the Elliot guy had made a bet with his friends that he could make Lucy fall for him because she was talking, like, her whole thing is, like, I want love and I want it to be, like, magical and, like, very special, all these things, you know, what most romantics want. Yeah. And he's like, you know, I can prove to her. And so he basically set her up, and she said she poured wine in his lap to make it look like he peed. And so she was at home and, like, crying, and Grayson comes over and finds her and storms off. Because she's like, you didn't even let me explain, like, whatever. So we switch to Lucy, and her and Grayson end up staying, and Grayson's like, I'm going to pick out your next date. So he's, like, going through the phone, like, trying to find someone. And she's like, I don't really know what happened. Like, Elliot had been there waiting for me. He kissed me on the cheek. It seemed great. But as she started talking, he, like, just had this smirk on his face and started, like, she noticed he was laughing at her. And basically said she was, like, self-righteous and stupid and, like, all these things. And Aiden like tells her, he's like, I thought some of your issues with dating might have been related to Maya's dad, and that's when she says like, no, we've been best friends since we were 3. He did offer to marry me, but I knew that I wasn't like his true love, and I didn't want to ruin his shot at that, and we were just kids. And she tells him like her parents and his parents are both rich, and they both cut them off. So when she decided not to marry Grayson and not to give Maya up for adoption, her family cut her off, and Grayson's family also cut him off. But his great aunt like hates his parents and was like basically supporting them until they could get on their own feet. And she has not talked to them like since then. Maya's 12 now, and they live in the same city as far as she knows. They still live there, and they don't even look. And she's like, as a mom, she's like, I couldn't imagine like cutting my kid off. So Aiden like wonders, like, he's like, do you ever think like maybe they've heard you on the radio? And she kind of like leans into him, and she asks like, do you think that I'll find someone? And she ends up kind of like falling asleep, and he tells her like the magic that she's looking for, like she's the magic. So now she's like we go ahead a little bit. She's waiting for her next date, William. She's at this place called Duck Goose. It is called Duck Goose? Okay. And it's been 45 minutes and he's late. And like the waiter's like, you sure you don't want to order anything? And she's like, I don't want to text Grayson because this is the guy Grayson picked. So she texts Aiden and she's like, hey, like I don't know if I'm at the right place. And he's like, oh, Duck Goose, it has great soup. And everyone's like, you should try the soup. You should try the soup. Like, she's like, I don't want to sit here. There's like 6 tables in this place. I don't want to be eating my soup alone. And everyone's been like looking at me for 45 minutes. They like the waiter brings her like cashews and she's like, great, now I have sympathy nuts. So Grayson is like, he's not there, and then he doesn't respond anymore. So she's like, I'm gonna go, and the waiter's like, hey, like it's on the house, or like on me, and he's like, this is not sympathy. He's like, I literally listened to the show, I know who you are, and basically like he can relate to her and he wants to pay for her. So she's leaving and she hears someone call her name, and it's Aiden. He's literally like hair is wet and running down the street. So over to him. For one, at the beginning of this chapter, when we switch, we get like a snippet from like a different podcast, and they're basically like, yeah, there's something between the two of them. Mm-hmm. So he's like, hey, let me take you to a bar. So they go to a bar. She's like, were you like nearby? Because he got here in like 10 minutes, and he's like, oh no, like I live close. And he's like, she's asking him like how he ended up doing the radio, and he says like basically he had a friend in college who was doing it and was like, hey, do you want to cover my shift? And he ended up loving it, or not really loving it, but like it got him girls, and it was like fun, and it let him be somebody else. It let him be Aiden Valentine, and when he was Aiden Valentine, all he had to worry about was picking songs. He didn't have to think about his mom. But he's like, now, people are just so like jaded and bitter about love. And he tells her about his mom having cancer. And the first time she had cancer, he was 8, and he would remember his dad like would try to play it off, but he would hear his dad in the bathroom like turn the shower on and like cry because he was so afraid of losing her. And he essentially never wants to love anybody that much that it hurts him that bad. And so she's like, okay, so then why would you be helping me if you like essentially don't believe in love? And she's like, I think that you're actually like a secret romantic. And she tells him like, I just need to have fun. Like basically she missed all that being a mom. And so they like go. They're playing skee ball, and he cannot focus, and he's terrible at it because he is like noticing everything about her. She looks real good. She was dressed for her date. And then she's like, this is so role reversal.
Yes.
So
and again, I love it.
So like, how everyone's like, oh, I don't know how to play pool. So like the guy teaches them. So she's like, I'm going to teach you how to do skee ball. And they're like both been drinking, and she's like drunk. So she's like wrapping around him, touching all on him, losing track of whatever she's supposed to be doing. And he's like, Lou, like, it's the ball. Like he's like about to lose it. So then there's like a jukebox, and the jukebox only plays the Thong Song by Cisco because somebody broke it.
Which I was cackling.
Oh my gosh. So she's like, dance with me, and he's like, I am not dancing to the Thong Song. And she's like, please. So he ends up, they're like 2-stepping. They're not even dancing to the music or whatever. And he knows he likes her, but he's like, okay, like this is fine. It'll be fine. And like she got like they're looking like they want to kiss each other, but he's like, I can't, like she's drunk, I don't want to do that. So he's like, let me walk you home, but her feet hurt, so he ends up carrying her. And then we wake up the next morning with Lucie, and she's like, oh, that was a good night, and rolls over because she's laying on Aiden on the couch. And she's like, oh my God, like, what is going on? And she's like, did I kiss you? And he's like, what? No. But she's like, I know, like, I'm a forceful drunk, because he's like, you made me stay. Like, I was going to leave you here, and you made me stay. And she's like, I know I'm an aggressive cuddler when I get drunk. And, like, when he says no, she's like, don't flirt with me. And he says, I've been flirting with you. And she's like, since when? And he's like, since the dental innuendo. And he's like, you've been flirting back. And she's like, well, should we stop? Because, like, you know, she's like, I'm looking for love. You're not relationship material. And he's like, it's fine. We just have a crush on each other because we work together. It'll fade. And he's like, I'll stop if you stop. And so they're talking. And then Grayson, like, walks in. And then Maya comes in behind. And Grayson is, like, smiling. And he covers Maya's eyes, even though no one's naked here. And Maya's like dressed for, I don't even know what it is, but she's got like a beard and like she's dressed like a man. They're going to a cosplay thing. And Grayson like points it out and Maya's like beaming and she's like, are you William? And he's like, and her dad's like, no, that is not William. And so they realize this is Aiden. And Lucie asks him to stay for breakfast. And so they're there and talking and all this stuff. And basically Maya's like, let me pick your next date. And Lucie's like, absolutely not. And she's like, and Grayson can't pick again because he did terrible. And I obviously suck. And they're like, okay, well, Aiden should pick your next date. And Aiden's like, I'm sorry, what? No. So like we jump ahead and they're back at the studio. This is Aiden's POV. And he ends up going through the phone and sees like, there's a bunch of messages, but he goes like pretty far and like people are being hateful to her. Like they're like, you need to shut up. Like basically like get off the air. And he like, they're read messages. He can see that she's read it. So he's like fuming. So after that whole thing, it's been like a week. We go back to Lucie and Aiden's kind of been cold to her like ever since that whole thing. So she ends up going on a date that actually isn't terrible. The guy shows up and he's nice. And this is Oliver. But she ends up telling him like, I'm sorry. Like basically I'm just not like, I'm into somebody else. And he's like, yeah, I can tell. You've mentioned Aiden like 6 times. And she's like, what? No, I haven't. And he's like, yes, you have. Like, you can't stop talking about him. But Oliver is like, it's okay. I went on this date because I also am like interested in somebody else, which is his brother's ex. So they're like, this is cool. Like, it was a fun time, but like, this is fine. So back with Aiden, it's the same night as the date. And he's like basically trying not to think about it. But Lucie ends up coming in and he's like, his phone keeps going off. And she's like, who is that? And he's like, you know, or something. He's like, basically like, I don't know. She can be like real persistent. And she's like, I mean, are you talking to a woman? Like, and he's like, are you jealous? And he's like, this is my mom. Like, it's cool. And so they end up going on the air and somebody calls in there and she's talking about her date and they're like, oh, like, did it go well? Are you going to see him again? And she's like, no, we're just going to be friends. And she says, you know, actually, guys, I think I'm going to start looking off the air, like, for someone. She's like, she just wants it to, like, occur naturally. She doesn't want to, like, be looking for them. But she's like, I did meet a guy at a bar. And Aiden's like, oh, tell me more. And he's like, oh, you went out with a stranger. And she was like, yeah, don't know if I'll see him again. I don't know if he wants to see me again, but I did enjoy it. And she's like, talks about how like, I wasn't even like thinking when I was there. It was just naturally. And like, he is in love. He's in love. So they get off the air and they look up and they realize like, they're the only ones left in the building. And she's like, you know, we should kiss. He's like, tell me to stop. She says no. And they end up making out. So we go to Lucie, and afterwards, he walked her to the car, and she kind of feels like, I don't know, like kind of like a letdown, like, because then he just doesn't say anything else about it after that. So she goes home, and Mateo's there because he's like, hey, Grayson is an artist, and he's painting, but he's like, I think Maya is missing you. And so she immediately feels like mom guilt, and he's like, absolutely not. He's like, because she's like, well, she needs me, and he's like, she does not need you. She just misses you. You need to take care of yourself. It's fine to do things for yourself. And so he leaves and like walks back home. And so she goes in because Maya was trying to stay awake. And Maya basically says like, Aiden likes you. That's what the internet is saying. So she texts him and is like, the internet is talking about us. And she ends up, he's like, what do you really want? And she's like, why did you kiss me? And she's actually a little worried that he just did it for the show. And he knows that. And he's like, absolutely not. Like, I don't care about the ratings. And he admits, he's like, this crush is not going away. And then like he asks what she's wearing and she's like an oversized t-shirt and like biker shorts. And she wants to ask him what he's wearing, but she doesn't. So go back to Aiden and like, all he can think about is Lucie. And he's at work, and Maggie's like, you know, it's time to like talk about her exit plan. And he's like, what? And she's like, yeah, I mean, she wasn't going to be on here forever, and the like listeners are really interested in you again, which was like the whole point. Like, you need to like talk to her about it. So Lucie shows up, and he was going to try to talk to her, but they end up in a closet, and they are not talking. They are making out again. And Lucie just kind of drops how like, you know, this is just fun. It doesn't have to be anything more than that. So Lucie's at work. This is another day, and she's texting Aiden, and the car guy shows up with Rosie, and he recognizes her voice like from the show. And after that, like someone calls and they need a tow, and so like her boss is kind of like, you go, even though she doesn't want to, and she shows up, and it's Aiden. His car broke down. So she gets his car hooked up, and he gets in the truck with her, and he's lost it. He's ruined. And so she's like trying to talk to him, like small talk, and he is like cold shouldering her. So she just like stops talking to him. And she's like, all right, like, well, I'm going to go like drop you off here. She goes to get out of the truck, and he's like, no, please don't go. He literally has a pizza on his lap, and it's a pineapple pizza, which he thinks is disgusting, but he bought it because he's like, I literally just want to try it because he basically is in love with her. And he's like, I'm messing this up. And he's like, I have a pineapple pizza. And she's like, you hate pineapple pizza. And he's like, but I wanted to try it. So he invites her to come over. So they get to the house, and we go to Lucie's POV, and he's like, give me 7 minutes. And she's like, 4. He's like, for me to shove all of my laundry under the couch. So he goes inside, and she's like, I really don't know anything about him, like outside of the studio. So like she like waits like 5 minutes and goes up to the door. He opens it, and so she's like, hey, like he always wears this necklace. She's like, what's the necklace? And he pulls it out, and it's literally just like an empty keychain on like a necklace. And he says his mom bought him it at like one of the like hospital gift shops, and it had a charm on it, but it fell off. But it's his good luck charm because he like whenever he like wore it, like they got good news, like his mom would be better, but he did forget it like at home and like a couple times, and they would get bad news. So like now he just does not take it off. That's why he doesn't use it as a keychain. And she goes in and sees what he was actually doing, which is he built them a fort in the living room, because when she first came on the show, she mentioned like, she was like, I just wish someone would do like that kind of thing for me. And so he remembered. So they eat pizza, and they end up having sex, and it's amazing as always. So we go back to Lucie. She goes home. Grayson comes over and is like, you had sex. And she's like, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, wait, I have to text Patty. And so he texts Patty, apricot jam. And she's like, you have a code word for if I have sex? And Patty comes over, and they're like, oh, you're wearing like his sweatshirt. And Maya comes down, and she knows, and she's like, you're wearing Aiden's sweatshirt? And she's like, no, like this is just from the studio. But she's like, well, it has Aiden's name on it. So yeah. And Maya's like, are you guys like a couple now? And she's like, I don't know. And she's basically like admits to them though, like, I don't want like what I thought I wanted. And Grayson's like, well, don't change like your thoughts just to like make it fit for Aiden. And she's like, no, it's not that. Basically, like she just was like looking for this perfect love. And she's like, that's not going to happen because it's different for every single person. And she's like, I just want something honest, and I want to make my own magic. So she goes to the station early, and they kiss, and then he like freezes up. And she's like, I missed you. But then he doesn't respond. And he brings up, like, you know, how do you want to play this on the air? Like, are we still going to act like nothing, whatever? And she's like, yeah, like, I don't really want to tell anybody yet. Like, I just want to keep this between us. Like, I want to keep you to myself. And he kind of takes that as rejection of, like, being a secret. So after this day, like, she goes home, and Maya tells her that she deserves ice cream for, like, setting her up and, like, doing all this, like, matchmaking. And so she goes to the station, like, the next time, and she hears Aiden talking. She's like, oh, I can already hear him. But then she gets closer because she thinks he's in a meeting with Maggie, which he is, but they're talking about her. And Maggie says, like, it's been weeks now, like, you haven't talked to her, and, like, you can't come in here asking me to get her off the show, and now you're not getting her off the show. So, like, which I love this. Lucie just straight up confronts it.
Yep.
Oh, no miscommunication tropes. Thank you so much. And she's like, what's up or whatever. And he says, like, I don't want you off the show. Like, I'm having trouble letting you go. Like, originally, yes, I wanted you off the show. But he's like, I don't want to let you go. And she's like, you're not losing me. Like, I'm just going to leave the show. Like, I'm not leaving, basically, you. So somebody calls in on the air, and it's car guy. And he's like, hey, like, I sent you flowers. Did you get them? Like, roses, like the red roses, like Ruby. And she didn't because there wasn't a card, I guess, and they gave it to like one of the guys. So Aiden is just like being weird. Like, he's not getting angry. He's just like acting disinterested. He basically is like, you should go on a date with him. And so she, like, they get off air and she's like, I'm sorry, what is going on? And he's like, you wanted to have fun. You just said this was just fun. You wanted to have a secret. And she's like, I wanted to have fun with you, like, you big idiot. And she basically says, like, I'm calling your bluff. Like, this is bullshit. You're bullshitting. And that's what it is. And she's like, she like packs up all her stuff. She's like, you just like purposely distance yourself because you're afraid of people to like have expectations of you. You're afraid of love. She literally packs up all her hair ties and her mints and all the stuff that she keeps there. And she's like, about to go. He's like, please don't go. And she says, you let me know when you're ready to talk. I'll be listening. And she leaves. So Aiden literally just sits there. Like, the show ends. Everyone goes home. He's sitting there like hoping she comes back. She doesn't. And he ends up calling his dad. And in the beginning of the book, his mom and his dad had went on this trip. And he told them he couldn't go because he worked. And he tells his dad, like, I could have went. I just didn't go. And I don't come over for dinner because I don't want to be close to mom, because if she dies, then basically maybe it won't hurt me as much. And he tells his dad that he heard his dad crying, and he's like, you know, I don't know what's wrong with me. And his dad's like, he's like, I'm broken. And his dad's like, you're not broken. You're just bruised. And Aiden asked him, like, you know, how do you love her when, like, you're so scared? And his dad is like, you know, we just need to work on this. He's like, you are going to start coming over. I'm going to talk to you every week. We are going to spend time together. Like, it is going to be fine. And so he ends up telling his dad everything about Lucie. And we jump ahead a little bit, and he goes to Jackson and basically is like making his plan to get her back. So Lucie is at work, and Aiden's car is fixed. And Harvey's like, hey, I need you to drop the car off. She's like, why do I have to drop it off? And he's like, come on, just drop it off. So she takes it to the station, and she has not talked to Aiden, has not even listened to the show, even though she said she would. So she gets there, and he's not there, and they end up asking her. I don't even remember how they asked, like, for her to get on the air.
They said that Aiden wasn't there because he had, like, a bird trapped in the gutter or something, and that Jackson has been on air for, like, 10 minutes making stuff up.
Oh, okay. So she gets on air, and Maya calls and is like, you love me, Mom. Remember that. And she puts Aiden on. And he basically says he's calling in. He needs advice. And he tells her, you know, he wants to know what it feels like to fall in love. And she's like, I don't know. And he tells her, like, he's eating pineapple pizza. And basically all he, like, thinks about is her. And they end up meeting up out in the parking lot. And he's like telling her, like, he wears her hair tie, he can't stop thinking about her, and that he's not gonna like push her away. And they end up like making out in the parking lot, and of course Grayson and like Maya are out there like honking the horn. They're like, that is a public parking lot. People can see them. And that is pretty much the end. There is an epilogue, which there wasn't much that happened. What happened?
Not really much, just kind of them.
Oh, that is
life
yes.
Together.
My notes didn't update, so they end up back in the shop.
Yes.
What's it called? Skullduggery.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that part.
And it's actually Patty's shop.
Yes.
So there's that. But I don't know what the name is, but there's like a famous like baseball player or something.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the book, like someone had like they called that name out to pick up their order, and he's like, surely like this guy's not really in here, like whatever. So while they're sitting there, the name gets called again, and Lucie gets up to go get the order. He's like, that's not your name. And she's like, oh, I know, but like he's a great guy. And he like is like, oh my gosh, she probably was here that day and didn't even know like that we were sitting on opposite sides of this like shop and didn't even know it. So they end up together at the end.
So sweet.
So sweet.
Okay, though, so this whole like I was giggling
It's
and
so
like
cute.
Oh my gosh, I love Aiden.
I love him.
Love Aiden so much. But let me tell you, the part where she's shuffling through his glove compartment and finds the list of things that she loves that he's written out so that he would remember all the things she loves. I'm like, oh my heart.
He's so perfect. He's such golden retriever energy.
Yes.
Which is funny because it starts out like he's a grumpy.
Yeah.
And she's a sunshine, which she's not a sunshine and he's not grumpy. But she's also not like Black Cat. Like it's not really those tropes, but I do like him. Yeah, no, I mean, it's just cute.
Yes,
it's nice. It's cozy.
so.
What did you rate it?
I rated it 5 stars, and I have to say that this is probably in my top 5.
Oh, I don't know why I put 4. I meant to rate it 4.5. I really enjoyed it. I think it's just cute. It's just like a palate cleanser. I love that there was, because I was like, all right, there's like an hour left. I was like, what's the like third act breakup? And there's really, I mean, there is, but there's not. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like something ridiculous, and it wasn't a miscommunication. Like, I hate miscommunication. Yeah. It's like, I was like, please, like, when she went right in there, I was like, no, like, I'm going to ask you about what you're talking about. Like, yes. That's why, again, like, not that they feel like old, but like, I just.
Mature.
Yeah. And I guess 27, 29 is younger than me, but like, not by much. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know, like, I still felt like a little bit older, like, even in the 30s.
Yeah.
For this book. But no, I enjoyed that. A lot.
It was fun. I tore through it very quickly.
Is this gonna be a series?
Yes.
Okay.
And I also wanted to bring that up because I'm like, I wonder who is going to be the other one. Maybe, or potentially, what was it?
Patty.
Harvey. Was that it?
Oh, the other guy.
Yeah. I'm like, because that would make a good story, him finding after his brother's ex.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I'm excited. This is my first BK Borison book.
Same.
And I loved it.
Same. Okay, do we have reviews?
Yes. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 paragraphs. I'm not reading all 8 of them.
About this book?
Yes.
Oh.
5 stars. I fell in love with this book. I cursed myself for reading it so quickly. Several things made me swoon and sigh, starting with the delightful banter between Aiden and Lucie during their radio show, where they shared a tiny booth without a single complaint. And then they went on to say that they loved the scene where she found the list in the glove compartment. Now, 1 star, less than 1%, with 380 1-star reviews. I have struggled in vain and can bear it no longer. DNF at 35%.
Oh.
Someone said, no one actually enjoyed this. I'm sure all these people are lying. Please, I'm on my knees. Open your mouth and talk full adult sentences.
Okay.
So yeah, there's that. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I said, probably my top, and when I say top 5, I mean top 5 romances.
Yes.
Honestly, it may be in top 3, just behind Kennedy Ryan's.
Oh, I don't know. Of all time?
Yeah. As of right now,
I have
that I can think of at least.
That would be hard. I don't know if I could do that. I hate ranking. I hate when we do it. I mean, I love it, but I hate it because it's so hard. I was like, this is the first okay. I did read that dark romance series, but I feel like we haven't read a lot of romances or something because
it doesn't feel like we have.
I swear, and then all the non-podcast books I read. So I read Onyx Storm, and then not Songbirds and Snakes. Oh yeah, Songbirds and Snakes, and then you haven't read it yet, but I just finished Fearless, and I'm like, I need pleasantries.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of our romances have been romantic-y.
They have been, yeah. We haven't just been doing romance.
And this was a good one.
It was.
I really liked it. I liked it more than I thought I was going to.
I didn't have any going into. I liked the idea of it, the radio show. So yeah.
And the role reversals.
Yes, I love a role reversal, but without making one of them more masculine or feminine. It didn't take away from their aspects at all.
Yeah.
And when it's time, Aiden is very much the dominant one, but then that's only reserved for certain times.
Yeah,
and
he's
appreciate that.
Sweet and respectful.
Yes, and he cares so much about her. And I love that. I do. I like Aiden.
Yeah.
We love. Okay, well, our next book before our hiatus is Kingdom of Ash. Oh my god.
And I just started it last night.
Oh, I can't wait for her to get through this book.
I'm like stressing.
I saw like a TikTok the other day and I was like, oh, I can't wait. I have so many saved. I'm like, I'm seeing this one.
I have, because stupid TikTok, I've been trying to avoid,
It's hard.
and I have caught a spoiler, but it's one that I kind of assumed.
Is it about characters being together?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's based on the other books. I've assumed it. Something about Aelin.
Oh, falling.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was
That doesn't
something
really
that
tell
I
you a lot, though.
kind of assumed was gonna happen based on, especially Crescent City.
Yeah.
But seeing all the tie-ins of the other books,
that
I was
scene,
like,
but right before that scene is going to like.
I'm like, I looked at the time because I'm listening to the audiobook, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, it's a big one. It is a big one. That's why I'm like, there's no way that I'm gonna get it re-listened to, and I don't really need to take notes on it because that one has summaries. But that one, yeah, and there's no time to record next week. Like, I'm just not gonna make it. So yeah, no, we'll do it in 2 weeks. But I'm so excited to finish. And I'm excited to start Blood and Ash. My mom was always talking about Jennifer Armentrout, so I'm like, that'll be our next series. So excited to do that, and just have some like more mental space for a little bit. And the summer's coming, and we have plans.
Read for pleasure a bit.
Read for pleasure. We have the retreat to plan, finalize. That's coming up.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, we will talk to you guys in 2 weeks. And just be watching our socials because I'll still be on there posting, and Keely will be on the Ink Drinkers page, and you can always reach out to us all the other ways. So talk to you guys next time. Bye.